what is Impressionism art?
Impressionism developed in France in the 19th century and is based on the practice of painting out of doors and spontaneously on the spot rather than in a studio from sketches. Main Impressionist subjects were landscapes and scenes of everyday life. Impressionism was developed by Claude Monet and other Paris-based artists from the early 1860s.
Impressionism is only direct sensation. All great painters were more or less impressionist. It is mainly a question of instinct. This quote is by Claude Monet, one of the most famous impressionists in history. Impressionism is a French art movement that began in the 1870s. Impressionists are always attempting to capture an emotion or experience rather than presenting an accurate depiction and perfection. Impressionism paved the way for subsequent painting movements such as Neo-Impressionism, Post-Impressionism, Fauvism, and Cubism. The Impressionists resolved to depict what they saw, thought, and felt in a very straightforward manner. They weren't interested in painting history, mythology, or the lives of great men, and they did not strive for perfection in visual appearances. Instead, they aimed to capture an impression of how a landscape, a thing, or person appeared to them at a certain point in time on a canvas. Small, thin yet obvious brushstrokes, conventional subject matter, and odd visual angles are all hallmarks of Impressionist painting. They were always breaking academic painting rules. In comparison to previous artists, Impressionists used looser brushwork and softer colors. They ignored the traditional three-dimensional perspective and clarity of form that had traditionally served to separate the more significant from the less important aspects of a picture. Many critics faulted Impressionist paintings for their unfinished aspect and seemingly amateurish quality. Now let's dig deeper into learning Impressionism art by recognizing the artists who pioneered Impressionism. Take it away, Troy.
Hello everyone, I'm going to introduce to you some of the great Impressionist artists. Oscar Claude Monet, or Claude Monet, also known as the father of Impressionism, was born on November 14, 1840. Monet is a French painter known for his significant contribution to the Impressionist art movement. Edouard Manet, fascinated by painting at a very young age, led the French transition from realism to Impressionism. By the time of his death in 1883, he was a respected revolutionary artist. Manet's famous artworks includes The Leçon on the Grass and Olympia. Pierre Auguste Renoir, born on February 25, 1841 in Limoges, France, died in December 3, 1919 in Cagny in France. A painter originally associated with Impressionist art movement, his early works were typically Impressionist snapshot for real life, full of sparkling color and light. Edgar Degas is a French Impressionist artist famous for his pastel drawing and oil painting. Degas also produced bronze sculptures, painting, and drawings. Degas is identified with the subject of dance. More than half of his work depict dancers. Edgar Degas. And that's all. Thank you. Yuri, you're up.
Hello there. Here I am going to present some of the distinguished artwork of Impressionism. First off, Impression Soleil Levant, 1872, is a painting by Claude Monet. This painting is credited with inspiring the name of the Impressionist movement. There are many interpretations of the meaning behind this painting. In the painting, Monet uses such a rapid brushstroke technique in order to portray the effect of the sun's light against the water and its fluidity in comparison to the rest of the scene. Next is Bar en el Folie Bergère, or it can also be called The Bar at the Folie Bergère. It's a painting by Edouard Manet. It was painted in 1882 and exhibited at the Paris Salon of that year. It depicts a scene of the Folie Bergère nightclub in Paris. It shows a counter in a busy bar venue where a barmaid has to serve their customers. The suggestion is that we are the customer approaching the bar for a drink, seeing the world from which we have emerged reflected back in the mirror. Next is The Two Sisters on a Terrace. The painting was drawn in 1881 oil-on-canvas painting by French painter Pierre-Auguste Renoir in the collection of the Art Institute of Chicago. This painting is very unique and interesting for its mix of techniques. In the background, where the boats and the water are located, it is painted in a very loose impressionistic style using a light pastel palette of colors, in contrast to the main drawing, which are the two sisters, which were drawn a little opaquely, showing more vibrant colors. And last but not the least, The Dance Class. The Dance Class is an 1874 painting by Edgar Degas. It is in the collection of Metropolitan Museum of Art. The painting is amongst the most ambitious works by Degas on the theme of ballet. The painting shows a dance class where ballerinas learned on how to dance intimately, formally, and socially around the teacher.
We already know what is Impressionism art, which is tackled by my group mates. Artists usually paint outdoors because they want to capture the natural color and light. They are interested in the influence of light on the objects because they see it as an important element. And how this captured is a key to the Impressionist work. We know artists tend to work quickly to capture what they see at the moment because it is easy for them to paint something naturally. Artists like naturalness, right? They want to keep it real with nature. They prefer on-the-spot painting rather painting in the studio. Impressionism focuses more on the artist's perception of the subject. It is more like how their minds interprets the subject or how they understand that subject rather than the subject itself because they do it as an impression. For example, a tree. Normal people just describe it as a tree or just a tall tree. But for an artist, they want to be the tree so that they can understand how does it feel to be like a tree, and for them to express art based on the perception of the subject, and inclusion of movement as a crucial element of human perception and experience. Thus, they paint a picture with less detail but with bold colors. Its subject is outdoor scenes, nature, and contemporary everyday life. And now, let's go to Christine.
Trivia about Impressionism. When a critic called the art impressions, it was meant as insult. Impressionists frequently repainted the same scene or subject in order to capture new light, color, and temporal moments. Many of the artists fled from France to England during the Franco-Prussian War. The established art community was outraged when the young Impressionist artists held their own exhibition in 1874. By the late 1880s, Impressionism was very popular and many artists throughout the world were taking up the style. Questions. Question number 1. Why do Impressionists prefer to paint outdoors rather than in studio? Question number 2. He is the father of Impressionism and known for his significant contribution to the Impressionist art movement.